Shanette Williams, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for being here.
You're more than welcome, Jennifer.
Yeah, I just want to start off by telling you how honored I am that you made the time to talk to me. And I truly appreciate you sharing Amber's story here. I'm truly honored by that. And I know that millions of people so far have heard about what happened to Amber.
Yes.
When that ProPublica story came out, received a lot of attention, it kind of blew up. And I think that when that happens, sometimes people forget that there's a real person, a human behind those headlines. They just kind of reduce it to a headline, a number, right? And I think it's really important that you're doing this. And it's important for me that you're doing this because it's a good reminder that there are human beings
Yes.
behind those headlines, people with dreams, people who love them, with families, with children, with parents and sisters. So can we start the conversation off there? Just tell me who Amber was at that time. What was she dreaming about? What did she want?
Well, Amber had graduated from medical assisting school. She got an MA degree. At that time, her focus was becoming a nurse. Everything she did it for her son, my grandson, Messiah. She worked so hard to get her a place just for Messiah. She never really asked for help. She was very strong-willed. She, just not the average, because everything she did, she was focused. Her focus was just becoming that nurse. She always wanted to be of service to someone else. She worked for Eagles Landing Medical Center, and then from there, she went to the Atlanta Heart Association. So her focus was in the healthcare profession. I think she wanted to follow in her mom's footsteps. She was just really focused. She had dreams, she had aspirations, she had goals. And, she was clearly able to check off some of those goals. But on August the 19th, those dreams died.
Yeah. And so I know she wanted to study some more. She wanted to be a nurse, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
August the 22nd, no, it may have been around the 23rd, I got that phone call from nursing school that she was accepted. And I had to tell them
Yeah.
that my baby wasn't here.
Right.
And it was a shock. She'd worked so hard to be accepted, and she would never know that she was accepted into nursing school.
Yeah. Ma'am. So we were talking about this offline, and
Yes,
I just learned that you learned about what really happened
yes,
from that ProPublica story. And I didn't
yes.
realize that there was a gap, right? So tell me about that timeline when you learned what really happened to Amber.
Well, I need to start out by clarifying that I never knew that my daughter was even pregnant. She's an adult. And with parents, sometimes with children, no matter the age, especially when they're adults, they tell parents on a need to know basis. And although her older sisters, my older daughters, they knew, but I didn't know. I got that phone call on August the 19th in the wee hours of the morning from my oldest daughter, CJ, who advised me that Amber was in the hospital. It was her blood pressure, and that she just wanted to let me know. Then that call went from, Mom, I think you need to get to the hospital ASAP. It went from the blood pressure to she's in ICU because they're trying to get her vital signs stabilized. Okay, as a mom, I drop everything and I have to go. I never knew what I was walking into. By the time I arrived at the hospital, I'm frantic, I'm calm, but that nervousness as a mother is there because I'm saying a blood pressure, stabilize her. I'm here. Everything is going to be okay because I'll be able to lay my eyes on her and I can then see what's going on. By the time I got to ICU, a nurse met me, and I wish I could remember names, but everything has just been cloudy as far as the nurse's name. She met me and she said, I can tell Amber's your daughter. Yes, she looks just like you. I said, okay. She opened the curtain back because the door was open. The curtain was open, and she said, Amber. Amber looked up And she said, I know this is your mom. Are you going to tell your mom or do you want me to tell her? And just like Amber, she said, no one will tell my mom anything about me. I will tell her myself. Jennifer, she began to tell me, Mom, I went to North Carolina to get a pill. I took the pills, started having complications, and here I am. For an abortion. I said, okay, I'm not here to judge. I want to make sure my baby's okay. Doctors were in and out. Oh, we're just getting her stabilized and we're going to take her back. Mind you, she'd been in the hospital probably around that time, maybe 16 hours before anything. Amber began to tell, it went from a casual conversation to I'm in pain. She began to vomit. She was very nauseous. She began to vomit and she began to tell me that she's in extreme pain. I reassured her that we're here. She's going to get the best care. I trust the doctors. We have nothing to worry about because they're going to do what they need to do to make sure you're okay. She repeatedly said to me, no, you don't understand. This is too painful. She began to cry. When my baby cried, I knew, no, this is urgent because Amber is very tough. She never cries. Or if she does, you won't see it. I wiped the tears, and I said, I promise you're going to be okay. Jennifer, I never knew the severity of how long she'd been there and the people that I trusted and reassured my baby that everything was good, that she has the best care. I never knew that the people that I trusted delayed care for 18 hours now. Then when they were ready to take her to pre-op, it was 1:59 p.m. And Amber went from the pain to telling me, Mom, you're going to have to take care of Messiah. You're going to have to make sure everything is good. I don't want to hear this. You're going to be okay. You're in the best care. They're going to get you back to pre-op. I'm going to be right in this waiting room waiting on you. And you'll be out within 20 minutes. And I'll be right here. I sat there. I sat in that waiting room. I never moved. I never even went to use the restroom. I sat there and waited and waited and waited. I saw her anesthesiologist walk out. He never came to acknowledge me. He went to the right. I saw other family members waiting on their loved ones that went to surgery at the same time as my daughter. Doctors came out, talked to them, told them they were ready. I was still there waiting. At that time, I'm getting nervous. I said, because they told me it would be 20 hours. Then her dad called. He said, are you at the hospital? And I told him, yeah. He said, well, why did they call me to tell me her surgery was successful? And I said, I don't know because I'm right here. I never moved. About 20 minutes or 30 minutes after, and I could be, the timeline is vague for me because, at this point I'm like, why would they call him? And they have my information. As a matter of fact, I've been the only one here with her. They talked to me. So why did they call him? And eventually the doctor and her OBGYN came out and they told me her surgery went well, but they had to do a hysterectomy Okay, that's fine. We knew that was a possibility. And then they went from telling me to everything was successful until she was in critical condition. And I'm saying, huh? At that time, my brother was there to see another member because he's also a pastor. And I happened to look up and I said, wait, I can't hear this. Get the young man that's walking down the hall. That's my brother. And they looked at me like, how do you know that's your brother? I said, no, I know his walk. They called him. I called him. He turned around. I said, I knew this was my brother. He came up. And at that time, they told the both of us that Amber was in critical condition. I'm confused because y'all called her dad and said the surgery was successful. So it went from successful to critical condition. And I said, okay. And they said, well, no, we're still working with her. And okay, I'm still going to sit here. And so I said, you know what? I'll just go with my brother to see the church member that was actually in the hospital as well. From there, he was going to leave because it was my dad's 75th birthday party we were having that same night. And I told him to go ahead and I'm going to be here. I need to wait until my baby is clear and then I'll make a decision. Maybe an hour later, her OBGYN came out and she said, walk with me. I said, where's my baby? I will walk with you if we're going to her room. She said, just walk with me. And I said, what is wrong with you? I need to get to the room. So I promised my baby I would be there. And, it was almost like she was like, is your brother still here? No, he's not. It's my dad's 75th birthday. So we are surprising him. So I told him to go ahead. She said, no one is here with you. I said, no. She said, walk with me. Get on the elevator. No, you tell me where my daughter is and we'll go. She said, I need you to call your brother back. Okay. I called him back and I said, they said, you need to be here with me. And he turned around, came back, and she said, I'm going to take y'all to this room. He never mentioned to me about what this room signified. And we were waiting and we were waiting and we were waiting in this room. I walked out and then I saw the OBGYN and the anesthesiologist come back. And at that time, they told me and my brother that Amber was in critical condition. They lost her, but she regained her breath. They're going to go back in and for us to just wait. At that time, I began to pace back and forth because I'm saying, God, I'm just praying like, I don't understand this. This was a simple procedure. I need answers. And they came back in and they told me they lost my baby. You can only imagine the pain, the remorse. I can't even explain it. The journey, 6 months after death, I've been introduced to a whole new life that is, I can't even just speak about myself because that would be selfish. My daughters, her brother, her son, my parents, her grandparents, my siblings, because we are all a close-knit family. This was trauma. But for me, I shut down. I just shut down. That's my baby. And I couldn't help her. And no matter how people say you don't blame yourself. You think about everything. You think about the timeline. You think as a mother, you think about everything that you possibly could have done. And Jennifer, I just shut down. Yes, I have my psychiatrist. I have my therapist. 6 months to death, a reporter shows up at my house. Who is this lady? Why are you coming to my house? What do you want? You don't know who I am. And she gave me her name. I'm from ProPublica. I'm a journalist. We are here and we talk about women's health, women's rights, and I believe I can help you with your daughter, Amber. No. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. I don't want to talk to you. She was very persistent, very persistent. So persistent to the point of mentally, it was troubling to me. And I pushed her away. Future, she backed off. And in backing off, I believe my daughter CJ had reached out to her because everything has been unsettling for everybody. Me, I've never accepted it, but she's not here. So I'm trying to learn how to live this life, new normal, without one of my children being here. The hardest thing ever. July, there was a bag on my door. July of 2024. We're timeline fast forwarding. Mm-hmm. There's a bag on my door. I asked my son, I said, there's a bag on the door. He jumped out of the car, got the bag, and he said, there are cupcakes. Don't eat those. I don't know who this is from. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. And he gave me the bag. There was a letter. The letter was ProPublica. Her name was Kavita. I read the letter and she said, I believe y'all are now ready to move forward with Amber in my interview. And she said, CJ, which is my oldest daughter, had reached out to me. She said, I've also talked to Amber's best friend, Ricaria, and I'm going to interview her. Said, no, nobody, absolutely nobody is going to interview with you without me being present. I'm not going to have it. And that is how ProPublica was invited into my home again. And she began to tell me, she said, I knew it was too early, it was too soon, but if we don't do this now, you'll never really know. And she said, I don't know if you're mentally ready or stable, but I talked to my therapist and I talked to my psychiatrist, and I said, and they were like, they told me that if mentally I was prepared, then they believed that I should hear the ProPublica's journalist out. She began to let me know that they don't believe that Amber just died. She told me what had happened and what they were investigating. She'd been doing an investigation, a thorough investigation, and gotten someone for the Maternal Mortality Review Board had advised her, and they were anonymous, that Amber's death was preventable. I never heard of a review board, and they told me that the doctors allowed her to wait 20 hours before they did her simple procedure that could have saved her life.
Yeah. So, first of all, I just want to tell you again how sorry I am that you shouldn't have to go through this, that this happened to you, that this happened to Amber. I'm very, very sorry.
Yes.
And, it sounds like, from what you've told me, just the timeline, just at the hospital, first of all, it sounds like they were afraid. Like, it sounds like they knew.
Yeah. I believe it with all my heart.
That they'd done something. So they were trying to avoid you. It sounds like they were afraid, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that I've never heard this part of the story before, the fact that the person from the Maternal Mortality Review Board reached out to ProPublica anonymously,
Anonymous.
right?
Yeah.
That tells you that there are people who knew that
Yeah.
they had done something wrong,
Yeah,
right?
they reviewed her case in July. She passed in 22. They reviewed it in July of 2024.
Okay.
This is a board I've never heard about. This is a board that we have no clue. This board actually is just designed to protect doctors. But somebody on that board leaked the information to ProPublica. Then ProPublica in turn compiled and did an article, and she advised me that I'm going to put this article out. I never consented because I said, this is private. I need to know what is in this article about my baby before you just say I'm going to do this without my consent. I argued with her. I gave her a hard time. And on September the 16th, this story came out, and the way she died was no longer a death. It was murder.
Yeah.
And everything changed for my family, for me. This was devastating because now the people that took the oath to help, they killed my baby.
Yeah. Yeah. So for 2 years, from 2022 to 2024, you were grieving, but you just thought that, this is what happens. I'm grieving, it's sad. But then you learned, essentially, like you just said, that this was murder, right? And that must have just changed.
It changed
everything.
Jennifer, it was like and I don't want to be selfish because collectively as a family, it was like we buried her all over again.
Yeah.
And this time it was preventable.
Yeah.
And they treated her as if she was a statistic. I will scream that to the rooftop. We were a strong knit family, and no matter what we needed to do to save my baby, my daughter, our daughter, my brothers and sisters' niece, my parents' granddaughters, my family, the entire family, we would have come together. Had I known I'm her mother, I was right there with her. It was nothing for them to come and tell me, this is what we're faced with. I would have gotten her out of there by plane, by whatever. And she would have got the necessary help. But I wasn't given that option.
Yeah. You said this a couple of times, and I just want to say, just for the record, that nothing you do is selfish. Nothing you're doing in telling this story is selfish. And the thing is that, mother to mother, we live to keep our children alive. That's what we live for every day. We get up and, that's the first thing that we think about. We keep our children safe. So the grief that a mother would feel is different, I think. So feeling that differently and talking about it differently is not selfish. I just want to say that,
Thank you.
And again, I understand the timeline in that, I'm a mother, but I'm also a daughter, right?
Yes.
I probably wouldn't have told my mother either,
Of course. And, I say, Jennifer, I don't care about critics. I don't care about the negativity. I don't care about sarcasm. There are a lot of things in life as a woman, as an individual. My parents they will never know. So it does not matter about the negative things that people say. My stance is the fact that you did not give me the option to know. You didn't give me a choice.
Right.
And you treated my daughter as if she were a statistic.
Right. And then when they did have more information, the time when they were avoiding you in the hospital, they could have given you more time. They could have told you what was happening, but they did not do that.
They did not. No.
So I know that both you and Amber in the medical profession, and I just want to go over that. So she had been prescribed a medical abortion pill, mifepristone, I think that's what it was,
yes.
right? And the procedure is it's common. It's typical.
It's typical, right?
Dilation and curettage, right? DNC.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so, we'll probably never know, but I wonder if Amber was even aware that this could have been avoidable while she was there.
Amber went, Jennifer, when she looked up at me, and she went from saying, "Mom, this is too painful. You don't understand." She started to give me instructions about Messiah. She started to tell me, "Ma, you're going to have," because they don't call me Mom, they call me Ma. And so she said, "You're going to have to take care of Messiah." And I said, "No, I'm not." And she began to tell me, "No, listen to me. You need to listen." And she was very adamant. And at that time, I think back over her instructions, and I said, was something telling her that this was it for her? Because her communication changed. It went from telling me she was in pain to giving me the instructions about Messiah.
Oh, talking about the DNC, I don't think people realize this, but when Roe v. Wade was passed in 1973, the year that it was passed, because DNCs were made legal, through
Right.
because abortion was made legal.
Right.
I think the maternal mortality went down for Black women and women of color by 40% just the first year.
Right.
And, just saying that aloud is kind of painful for me, because you think about 1973 to 2022, that's 50 years.
Yeah.
Think about how many lives have been saved.
Yes.
Right? And one of the reasons I wanted to start this conversation out with you telling us, who Amber was, what she dreamt about, is because for years, activists have been screaming from the rooftops, women will die, people will die, right? And, people either didn't care or didn't hear that, right?
Right.
They think in terms of numbers. They don't think of the fact that, somebody's a mother, somebody's a daughter, somebody is a sister.
Yes.
Right? And I think when Governor Kemp, when the ban was passed in 2022, I think he said something like, "Oh, this is the best thing that's ever happened," or he said he was overjoyed. I think that was the quote he said. He was overjoyed, right? In an interview. So that must be, just listening to that for me is really painful.
And I want to just interject. How is that overjoyed? Because my speech anywhere I go is, you're a parent or family first. So how can anybody say it's a joy? Because you could be in my shoes. It could be your child. We'll never know.
Right. Right.
I don't understand. What is the problem with a woman making a choice for her body, for herself? What's wrong with that? I don't get it. Politics, nothing should be mixed with women's health. None of it does. It never works out. It doesn't make sense. For the life of me, how can a politician know about my body? That's a connection. That's a rapport you build with your healthcare provider who took an oath to save lives. And there is not a clause in that oath that says, if the politician changed the law, then I can't do my job.
Right. Right.
I don't think that was the case. I don't think that's the case. I don't think there's a clause in there that says that.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to talk about that review board because this came out shortly after this happened. The one that went to ProPublica, who went anonymously to ProPublica, right after the story came out, they dismissed the people on that board. They say dismissed, but they fired them, essentially. They fired them all. And so now we have no information, no data about whether this is happening again. And we know it's happening.
We know it's happening. And that's my thing now, Jennifer. I can't, and it's hard to say my baby is gone. It's hard. But reality is I can't bring her back. God knows I wish it were different. But now, what do? We know there is a major problem. But now, what do we do?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I hope you know this, how immensely helpful it is that you are out here talking about it.
Yes.
And I wanted to ask you a question. I'm curious about what your relationship with thinking about abortion was before this happened and after this happened, because I'm thinking about this and this, I'll tell you why. So I've had multiple miscarriages and I've been public about that, myself. And one of them I had complications and
Right.
I could have died myself. Right.
Yes.
I didn't know that I could die. Right. I did not know. And after I understood how precarious a woman's life is when she's pregnant or she's having an abortion or she's having a miscarriage, I woke up. I realized that this is not, a lot of us are at risk.
Yes.
And my relationship with that information changed once I knew that I could die. And I was wondering if you had a similar, obviously you've had an evolution like that.
Yes.
What did you think about it before this happened?
Jennifer, to honestly tell you the truth, I'm neutral. I don't have I'm not against it. My take on this is, if you know that you're not in a position to effectively, to 100% parent children, don't bring them into this world. I promise you, because when you're carrying them, babies, if you're in a stressful environment, if you're in a dysfunctional environment, you're not doing any justice for this unborn child. And then to bring them into the world, into dysfunction, no.
Well, if Amber had told you that she was going to take the abortion pill or she was going to have an abortion, would you have been worried?
I've never, because, I'm in my 50s, so I don't know anything about pills, this new age stuff that's going on now.
Yeah.
I mean, I need to be there with you. You're a grown woman, but give me the courtesy, because you're still my baby, of being there with you. You've already made up your mind, but then I don't want to do anything to discourage you. I want to encourage you. So I want to be there with you. And if anything goes wrong, I can immediately do what I need to do to ensure that you're okay. So I would have been there to support her.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, you would have taken her anywhere.
Yes.
To get the care that she needed. I mean, yeah, most mothers would do that.
Yes.
Yeah. So I know that you've been connecting with people in the community in Georgia since this happened, and probably all over the country.
All over. Yes.
What are you telling, I guess, women who might be in this position, parents who, might have a daughter in this position, about the risks for abortion? What are you saying? What are they asking?
Well, that's never been a topic about the actual abortion, what's really happening. For me, my stance is we have to be more welcoming. This generation that we're in now, they're open to everything, whereas we're older. So we are closed-minded. Whereas this generation, the generations after us, look at social media. Look at the entertainment, everything. Look at, we're going into IT more than anything. A lot of us have to catch up. So we have to be more welcoming as parents, welcoming as older adults, and we have to listen to them. And we're trying to reel and draw them into our world. And that's not going to happen. It's going to forever be divided. We need to be more welcoming into understanding what's going on with today.
Yeah. 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 Is anybody afraid? Are they afraid that, the medical professionals aren't going to help them? Are they expressing any of that to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I have connected with the other young lady, Candace Miller's family. She died at home because they were not going to help her. So she died at home. And Candace's sister, Taraya, I've connected with them, and, she just sharing Candace's life, her timeline, and the fact that, that she just said going to the hospital, they're not going to help me. And this young lady died at home. 6 months later, her mom died of heartbreak.
Is this the young lady that she went and they sent her home because she wasn't? Is this the same person or
That
no?
may be her case, but it is Candace Miller.
Okay.
So that may be the case, but I am connected and I try. Now there's a community for me.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, this is my therapy.
Yeah.
This is healing for me.
Yeah.
And then, people say time heals. No, it doesn't. You have to do the work. And for me, this is empowering. This is therapy. My daughter is no longer here, and being her voice, no matter where I have to go, being that voice for her. If this is going to help someone else, that is what I'm going to do.
Have you been able to connect with any lawmakers? So probably outside of your state, but even in your state in Georgia, have you been able to connect? And have they been receptive? Are they, what's the plan?
Well, I haven't gotten there yet. We've, Senator Ossoff,
Mm-hmm.
Congresswoman Nicole Williams, Senator Warnock. I've been on panels with them, and they do know that we want an Amber's Law. So, and this is for other women. We need a law that is going to protect women's rights. And Amber, her story reached, oh my God, it reached the masses, international. I've done international documentaries and interviews, and if this is what it took, my aim is not to stop there. This law has to be changed. And if enough of us not just talk about it, because during the election, she was like a hot topic. That's a no-go. My daughter was not a statistic. She was not a hot topic. And now you hear nothing. And for me, that's the most disturbing thing. When you have the media, oh, I need to interview you. I need you here. I need you there. And then you go back and look, you hear nothing about women's rights. You hear nothing about deaths in Georgia that occurred. You hear nothing. They're on to the next topic. They're on to the next hot topic. And we can't, as women, as a mother, that this is affected tremendously. I can't let it die. So now what do I do? What do I do with the pain? I turn it into a purpose for women's rights. And that's my goal. We need a law. We need a law. We need an Amber's Law. We need this.
Yeah, your baby is not a hot topic.
No.
Your baby is your baby.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I will support Amber's Law. Anything you need from me, I'm there for you. But I just want to say, because you mentioned politics, that I will say this until I'm blue in the face, because we need to repeat this. The majority of people in this country do not want this. They want access to abortion.
Yes.
They do not want women to die.
Yes.
We are the majority, and we need to keep repeating that, because it's the other side that are acting like they have the majority and that they have the mandate, and that's just not true.
And it's not true. And I think, when we protest, when we bombard them, when we're continually in their face, that's how we're going to see change. And they picked the right mom, because I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. The worst thing that ever could have happened to me in life, it did. And now what do I do about it?
Yeah. What do you need from us? What do you need from me in this fight? I
need everybody that says we're with you. I want to be in their face. They need to hear my voice. Amber's name needs to ring out until we get change. I want media. I want every platform that says I'm with you. We can't be afraid to hear no. We got to take that no and bombard them until we get that yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jennifer, is so disheartening. I don't see color. I see women. And statistically, you may say Blacks are affected more so, but it's all women. It's all women. And I don't just want it to be a population of Black women. I want it to be all women that are affected. We have to make our voices known. We've worked hard to be where we are. We've worked hard to vote. We've worked hard to have rights over our bodies. We've worked hard for jobs that they say we were not qualified for. We've worked hard. And guess what? The people that are trying to strip us of our rights, they were raised by women. And I don't understand this.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to say to you, and this is no consolation, right? And I wish you did not have to do this. I really wish you didn't have to do this, but I want to tell you that we are grateful to have you.
Thank you.
In this fight.
Yes.
And that Amber's life matters. What happened to her matters.
Yes.
She deserved better. You deserve better.
Yes.
Her child deserves better.
Definitely.
And you, by doing this, you will save lives. Yes. You will save lives. And I hope that you hear that every day, how much your advocacy matters. I hope someone tells you every day how much what you're doing matters and that you will be saving lives.
Yes.
And I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Jennifer. Thank you for just taking the time to just allow me this platform. All of it matters. And I'm grateful for everything.
Yeah.